For a long time, I was the kind of person who said yes before I even had time to think, before I even had time to feel. Saying yes had become automatic, like a reflex. I was the reliable one, the one who always shows up, the one who fixes everything, the one who never says no. And at first I thought it meant I was kind, generous, loved. But over time I started to notice something unsettling, that being everything for everyone was slowly turning me into nothing for myself. I was burning out quietly, silently sacrificing my time, my peace, and my needs, all for the comfort of others. And people didn't notice. How could they? I never let them see it. I smiled through the exhaustion. I showed up even when I was falling apart. I said yes, even when every part of me was screaming, "Please say no this time." But I didn't, because I was afraid of disappointing, afraid of looking selfish, afraid of being seen as less. So I kept giving, and they kept taking, not because they were cruel, but because I never told them where my limits were, and that's what crushed me. There was this one week, back-to-back favors, responsibilities I didn't ask for, people relying on me for everything, and not a single moment for myself. By the end of it, I stood in front of the mirror, looking at a version of myself I didn't recognize. I looked tired, hollow, like someone who had given away so many pieces that there was barely anything left. That moment broke something in me. But maybe it was the kind of break that lets the light in. I asked myself a hard question. Why do I keep doing this? Why do I keep betraying myself for others? And the answer was clear. Guilt. That quiet, powerful voice that whispered, "You can't say no. They'll be disappointed. You'll hurt them. They might leave." That guilt had been shaping my life for years, and the truth is, when you're always afraid of being rejected, you end up rejecting yourself first. But here's what changed. I got tired. Not just physically. I was emotionally exhausted. Tired of being the person who always bends. Tired of saying yes when my soul was begging me to say no. So one day I tried something new. Someone asked me for help, a favor I didn't have time or energy for, and I paused. I took a breath and I said, "I'm sorry, I can't." No excuses, no lie, just the truth. The reaction, a bit of silence, a bit of awkwardness. And then, nothing dramatic. The world didn't end, the sky didn't fall. That moment was small, but it changed everything. Because for the first time in a long time, I had chosen myself, even if it meant disappointing someone else. And that became a turning point. I started to practice it, saying no when I needed to rest, saying no when something didn't align with who I was, saying no without justifying or apologizing too much. And slowly, something beautiful started to happen. My time opened up. My mind quieted down. I stopped living on autopilot and started feeling like I was in charge of my life again. Of course, not everyone liked the change. Some people got distant. Some acted cold. But you know what? That distance revealed something important. They weren't in my life because of who I was. They were there because of what I gave. And when I stopped giving endlessly, they stopped showing up. It hurt, but it also healed. Because on the other side of those no's, I discovered peace. I discovered rest. I discovered myself again. I began to learn the difference between pleasing and loving, between sacrificing and showing up genuinely. And most importantly, I learned that I didn't need to destroy myself to be accepted. The people who truly care, they understand. They don't punish your boundaries, they respect them. I also started noticing how much more present I was when I said yes to things that actually mattered. Because I wasn't burnt out, I wasn't resentful. I had space to care, not out of obligation, but because I genuinely wanted to, and that made all the difference. My yes became more powerful, more valuable, more true. And something else happened. I started liking myself more. trusting myself more. Because every time I said no to what drained me, I was saying yes to what healed me. And in doing that, I wasn't just changing my schedule, I was changing my identity. I was no longer the person who only existed in the eyes of others. I was becoming someone who knew how to stand alone and be okay with that. Now, I say no with kindness but firmness. I honor my own limits. And I don't apologize for protecting my peace. Because I've realized this. When I'm whole, when I'm rested, when I'm present, that's when I give the best of me, not the leftovers. So if you've been living under the weight of yes, if you feel like you're being pulled in 1,000 directions and losing yourself in the process, I want to tell you what I wish someone had told me. You don't owe anyone your exhaustion. You don't owe anyone your silence, and you are allowed to say no, even if it disappoints them, even if they don't understand. Your no might feel uncomfortable. At first, it might even hurt. But over time, it becomes the foundation of your freedom. It's not about becoming selfish. It's about becoming honest. And in that honesty, you will find yourself again. If this message resonated with you, if it reminded you of something you've been feeling but couldn't put into words, I invite you to join me here. Subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and share this with someone who needs to hear it. Because this space is for people like us, people learning to choose themselves again. And trust me, there is strength, peace, and healing on the other side of that first no.